Welcome back to Castle Motors, my attempt to play through the automation campaign on 100 times difficulty. That means starting with no money and only a factory to take loans out against. But instead of the traditional small factory start of focusing on luxury cars, because I only have small production volume, I've focused on off-road vehicles and big ugly rectangles. Our two models are currently selling well. The Tower, our original, is due for replacement soon. And our big seller, the Portcullis, is currently engineering for an updated version. Now, the Tower is made out of aluminum by virtue of being in a small factory. You cannot buy steel presses for a small factory, so you must make the cars expensive materials. So it's pretty well replaced by the new Portcullis model. It's more expensive and not as good. So what I'm going to focus on in this episode is replacing the Tower with something a little more interesting. So it's time to start a new model. Actually, first, let me talk about in the previous episodes, we spent all these years designing our new Portcullis vehicle. It's now 1961, and we built our medium-sized factory steel presses. Since it started selling, we are raking in the money. You can see up here, 16 million per month. We have 200 million in the bank. Most of that's being spent on upgrading our factories. But in the year or two before that upgrade starts, we should make enough money to be okay. In fact, down here, you can see the time to finish producing the new factory. It's 9 months. That means that's 9 months we're not selling that car. So I'm not going to go nuts on spending all of my money on R&D or marketing. We're just going to build up our savings. We're going to spend a lot of it on factory upgrades. But now on to the new vehicle. I haven't really planned this ahead too much or anything. But because it is made out of aluminum, it's going to have to be kind of premium. It's just going to be more expensive than steel cars, no matter what we do to it. Now, even on 100 times difficulty, where besides starting with no money, it also means that the AI cars are 150% stat boosted, that they still suck. So I can kind of sell anything, at least early on in the game. But I'm going to want to target what's interesting to me right now is utility premium and family utility premium, which the utility premium is pickup trucks, but they're premium, and family utility premium is more station wagons is the preferred type, and they'll also buy SUVs with a smaller penalty to that body type, I think. And looking forward, off-road premium is going to become a thing in a little bit, but it's not here yet. It's only 1961. That unlocks 1965. Utility sport, that is SUVs, unlock all at once in 1975. That's going to be a big market for us, I think. But for now, I want something that can actually sell. So I'm going to want, ideally, a utility version and an SUV version, or if I can find a body that has a station wagon, I might use that. But I also have to follow the mandate of our board members in the comments and make everything ugly rectangles. I'm going to see what bodies I've unlocked. Starting from... Man, I only have 1962 bodies unlocked, huh? I thought I put more into R&D. Yep, here in R&D I can see my body effective unlock year is January 1964, but there's just no bodies for 1963 or 64. Alright, so what am I looking for? Big rectangles, trucks, station wagons. This looks promising. We're also looking for something with a nice long wheelbase, is large and wide, because in Gasmia, our country, they prefer large cars, and these premium markets also prefer large cars by a huge margin. So this is a possibility. This is nice and rectangular. We have our pickup. We have our SUV. We even have a convertible pickup. I wonder if that counts as utility premium. Got the Jeep option. This isn't as good for family utility because it hasn't got 4 doors. Oh, and ooh, this sure meets the ugly rectangle mandate, but it's awfully small at a 2.2 meter wheelbase and 1.35 meter length or width. Whereas this is what, 1.31. You know, I think I gotta give the people what they want. And that's funny looking cars. We're gonna see if we can make this sell as a premium vehicle. So we're looking at aluminum, and it's gonna have to be either a ladder or a space frame. Can't make monocoque without steel presses, I don't think. And ladder's a cheaper version. It's more suitable to off-road vehicles. Steel chassis material, front longitudinal engine, in the front, point in the back. This is our 4x4. Double wishbones in the front, and kind of balance the utility with the comfort. Could go solid axles with coil springs instead of leaf springs. But I'm gonna have to come back to this and see what they actually like. And we'll just assume we're using our existing... Oh, never mind. It's possible this is a good time to design a new engine, although it would also need a separate factory, because you can only build one type of engine in a factory. I'll draw this up with a new engine. I'm not even going to give it a name yet, but maybe it's time for our premium vehicles to consider investing in overhead cam technology. We get just the tiniest bit of familiarity in that from our work on push rods. Honestly, almost none. But putting the camshaft up top instead of down below makes our engines a lot more fuel efficient, higher revving, more powerful. And since it's still a utility type vehicle, we're going to make it nice and over square. The 2.4 liter or so. See if they end up liking that or not. And all cast iron, of course. You don't need no fancy materials here. Or compression. And of course we find that even with our overhead cam, it can't rev to the default of 5700. So we're getting that down about there. We get 88 horsepower. That's almost as much as our much larger engine. Although it's, I don't need to have it as leaned out as that probably for the utility markets, or not the utility, the premium markets. These people don't care if it's as fuel efficient. They want their throttle response. Power. Exhaust size. So they like it a little smaller? Maybe. That's just a prototype. 86 horsepower, 127 foot-pounds torque, slow revving engine. I'll fine-tune that again once I've got in here. Put it rear-wheel drive for now. 3-speed automatic. That's new technology for us, I think. Lots of gear spacing with the gears far apart in utility vehicles. Always radial tires. 13-inch wheels, that seems about right. 80 profile. The default here is a little skinny. See if they like some disc brakes. With soft, comfortable brake pads. Skid trays still for off-road, cooling airflow. And 6 seats in this. Because that's what the utility, the family utility market's like, is actually a stat automation called practicality, which basically means more doors, more seats. Give it a premium interior with a radio, a premium radio even maybe. Cost difference isn't that much. Power steering, best safety we can afford, and the best suspension, bits that exist, which isn't much right now. And it says that it's utterly unusable by utility premium and by family utility. So give me a little bit and I'll figure this out. This red flashing here, wheels spin. This is too powerful. Oh, and the suspension's horrible. Just gonna put on the normal preset and fine tune from there. Appeals more to family utility than to family utility premium. Which tells me maybe it's the AI average family utility premium vehicle. I can see if I click on this. Has better gas mileage. It's more comfortable. And it's easier to drive. Well, I'll see if I can figure that stuff out a little bit. It's got luxury interiors, just too expensive. I think about where I guessed at in the first place is good. But I can put +1 quality on our premium. Seat count. They don't like more seats. Yeah, no. They want more braking. Can I put disc brakes on the rear? They don't like that. So they do like it if I bias them out further. Here we can see it's got enough strength to lock up the rear wheels, not the front, which is kind of a horrible setup. When you add the weight to the rear of a lot of cargo and people, it balances out more. Oh yeah, in gearing it says we have too much wheel spin. So I just need to increase the top speed. Watch it get easier to drive and the gas mileage go up. Well, not too much. There, if I gear it out to 112 miles an hour, you can see it actually maxes out at 85. And we're appealing to family utility and family utility premium. It's an expensive car for family utility, but we got a little appeal to regular family markets, although they don't like the body type as much, I don't think. Let's see, it says we can lose the off-road skid tray, but I want to know, is this car appealing to off-road? Not really. Low off-road penalty, 48%. Doesn't handle off-road at all, huh? I think it's probably just too low to the ground. But they don't like it higher, the family utility markets. What else can I do? Oh yeah. So chassis type here. Oh, they really like it with double wishbones on all four corners. That would make it really much more of a road vehicle than an off-road vehicle. It'll be hard to sell this to off-road premium when that comes out. But I think with the body type, it's never going to be a true off-road car. Maybe I'm better off making a premium trim of my regular off-road vehicle. It's built out of steel. So I might stick with this. We're starting to see some real market appeal here with the more expensive suspension type. They don't like space frames, do they? Oh, they'd love it with a space frame, but that makes it horribly expensive. I think I'm going to try and stick to a ladder frame. That'll do. Now we're better than the average family utility premium vehicle in every stat you can see here except for gas mileage, which they do care about a bit. So if I go back to the engine, what can I tweak here? Can I lean out the engine all the way? Yeah, they seem to like that. Save some fuel. Drop some cam profile. We're now making a little less horsepower, but we're saving gas. Let's see, do they want the engine smaller, perhaps? The numbers say yes. As far as I can tell, the only thing we're really gaining with this is costs. Actually, no. Family Utility Premium likes it bigger. Family Utility likes it smaller, naturally. Now, let's have a sweet spot around 2.2 liters. Now down from 88 to 75 horsepower, becoming clear that my original engine design was maybe a little too ambitious. This overhead cam engine will pave the way for higher tech engines later, although our main line may keep using push rods for a long time. Oh, and of course, we need to christen this in the usual brick gray. With some white on the bottom. I like that look. What an ugly brick. It really is. The entire vehicle's a brick. It's just a big brick. It's a rectangle. It's gray. It has almost no vehicle-like features. But that's what we're all about at Castle Motors. Ugly cars that don't look like cars. That's why most of our cars are not named after anything you want to name a car after. Now I want to see if I can target utility premium as well. And since I've already committed to double wishbone suspension, that might be very difficult. I'm going to see what I can do. Just the instant I take the weight off the back, I get a wheel spin warning, so that's interesting. And yeah, this is actually appealing okay to utility premium without any fine tuning. So again, I'm just going to mess with some things and see if I can come up with a car they like. Ooh, manual locker. I might have to go back and add the locking wheel hubs to my last vehicle. 4x4 utility premium looks a little bit. In fact, I'm going to go back, just see. It would make a big difference to the off-road if I put these features in. So if I made it a 4x4, they don't like it as much. With a manual locker, they don't like it as much. Yeah, as far as family utility is concerned, these features are just costing them money and gas mileage, and they don't care as much about the off-road, and it still is not good at off-road because it's so close to the ground. The body kind of is that way. I could put it higher, but these guys don't like it. In fact, I like it lower. There's probably more numbers to be gained by fine-tuning all the suspension, but I'm not going to bother. So we're keeping it rear-wheel drive, open diff, cheap stuff, relatively. But our truck, well, it can be rear-wheel drive, because it's not a big improvement. We're keeping the locking diff, because I gotta have that. And the reason is, not that I wouldn't do it for a small improvement, but when we have to engineer the rear-wheel drive on the SUV and the 4x4 on the pickup, the engineering times of both get added together in not a linear addition, so it doesn't get 20 plus 25, but they get vector added, ending up with something like 28 or 30 months of engineering time. And I want to keep our engineering time low. That lets us improve the reliability more. Let me see. Brakes. Seem to be okay where they're at. except for more brake pads. I do like that off-road skid tray. Utility premium's willing to pay for a luxury interior in this case. But, again, you get that engineering time effect, so I'm not 100% sure if this is worth it. Looks like in this case, again, the default suspension's pretty close, and I can't be bothered to spend a whole long time messing with it, so I'm going to call this acceptable. Compared to our typical utility premium vehicle, it's easier to drive, vastly more comfortable. In fact, this number tells me, 12 comfort, that there's no dedicated utility premium vehicle. It's only cars that are just kind of selling to that market. It's not as good at off-road. That's because of our suspension setup, our suspension type with the double wishbones. But everything else is better, or close to the same with the actual utility value. Which I can improve, I think, if I go and make the trunk or the bed even longer. Did they like that? Yeah, I think so. We're at 122 compared to 116, definitely. Oh, isn't that ugly? But it's what they like. They like slightly more cabin space. Dragging these all the way out. I think I might have actually got this the other way around, where the brown was the SUV in the main model, but I don't care. And then, using what we've learned, we will see now that we can improve this vehicle from a score in Family Utility Premium of 130 to 141. Wow, that's enormous, actually. They absolutely love making it even bigger, even brickier, and even uglier, with no aerodynamic concerns whatsoever. Just a massive Among Us spaceman. Now this is going in our existing factory. I'm going to keep it the same size so that's not too expensive to refit, because we have a lot of expenses with our other model. Keep our tooling quality up, keep our QA threshold low, because we have expert workers in this factory which has been running for a while. And oof, we are looking at 75 months to engineer this vehicle. With the biggest factor being the chassis. That is the downside of using double wishbones all around. It takes forever to design them. They're complicated. Runner-up being the interior, which is because we're designing two different kinds of interior. That's also problematic. So, instead of cranking all these sliders up to make our car better, we're going to have to save ourselves some time for it to actually be competitive. Let's see, I can crank up the pressure on our engineers, which makes it done faster, but we learn less familiarity and it's less reliable, so I don't want to do that too much. 21 million this is costing us? How about 30 some? This is down to 70 months. We haven't still saved very much time at all. Reliability. Yeah, they don't like to see that go down. Actually, the premium market doesn't care as much, but utility, yeah. What else can I take down? Process. This means that our material costs go up, but our labor units go down, so we can make more of them. That has some detrimental effect, because it makes the whole car more expensive. Tooling. Take that down, car gets more expensive. And that's not great, but we can get the car done in 5 years. It's going to have to be acceptable. Now the engine will be done in less than 5 years, so we're just going to go ahead and crank down the pressure which means that we will learn more about its components, which is good because I want to learn about that cool, fancy overhead cam. Oh, and I need to put it in the... Always have them built on contract. That's fine. Or maybe not even. I'll see about... If this is going to take us 5 years, our facelift of their vehicle will be done by then. So I can make a new factory. Always made in Gasmia. We just drop 10 million on a medium plot. And make it small. So make plenty of engines. 800 for probably 500 cars. And then we'll have, you know, a factory. Now, prices. What are we looking at for budgets? 26,000 for utility premium, 20,000 for family utility premium. Let's try an 80% margin. I'll put these things right around 20,000 to pop. They're honestly actually not that expensive. Of course, it says I'm going to lose money, but I don't trust it. Everything I've made so far seems to sell. Now I just need to name the things. So let's see, our current models are the Tower and the Portcullis. Let's say, good name for our premium vehicle. I'm thinking the Throne. Our advertising looks something like only kings get to sit in the throne or something. With, as ever, terribly uncreative names. It can be fun to think of logical names for these different variants of the vehicle, but that just makes it more confusing when you actually look at your screen later with the list of everything. Go, what the heck is the LX? And we'll need to name this engine too. What better name than the Donkey? Simple working engine. The projected cost of this is 100 million, and I'll go ahead and take out a loan for it, just so I don't get surprised at the factory costs with a short payback length. That'll be worth the 15 million that we end up paying extra in interest. So as we can see, this is going to take 5 years from today. That's going to be long after our Portcullis goes through its update. And I'm going to wait until that's done before I spend more on any other little things we can spend money on in a campaign. We have notifications that all of our engine factories are overworked, naturally. So Engine Factory 1 is the contract, and Engine Factory 2 is making our engines for the Portcullis vehicles. Engine Factory 3, which doesn't exist yet, will be making engines for the Tower, or Throne, which is replacing the Tower. Let's see. Even as time goes on, we are only sort of digging into our pre-orders. Oh. And we had to pay back our pre-orders because the factory is under construction. So as the timeline moves in here, we're done selling the 1955 whatever version of the Portcullis. And it's costing us money, but it looks like we're not going to go bankrupt, so I'm happy with that. Anytime you don't go bankrupt is a good year. Costing us massive amounts of money. Went from 300 million to down like 150, 124, and cars are on sale. Uh-oh. Car Factory 1 has a quality issue. Decision needs to be made. That's never good. So just at the same time as our brand new 1961 Portcullises are on sale and selling swimmingly, a significant production issue has happened with the Tower. The engines made for the last 7 months are flawed. A total of 3,000 are affected, and difficulty fixing is considered low. So when this happens, we can do nothing if we choose to. This costs us no money. And there is a chance, in this case 47%, that a few months down the line people will discover the flaw in our cars. And if this were to happen, our company reputation would go down by 28.2, and prestige, which is less affected by this sort of thing, would go down by 10. Now, a loss of 28 reputation would possibly be the only thing that could actually kill our sales at this point. So we're not going to do that. We could do a quiet recall, which is to say, whenever the affected vehicle comes into the service, we fix it, we pay for it, but we don't ever send out recall notices, in the hopes it doesn't go to the news. This costs us about $500,000, and if it's discovered, we would lose 0.5 reputation and 1.4 prestige. Or we can do a full recall, call everybody in to get their engines fixed, and in this case, it would cost us more than doing a quiet recall and having our reputation damaged by its discovery. Apparently, we're the sort of brand who are so built on not having flaws with our motors that to simply announce that we had a flaw is worse than people sort of realizing that we've been sneaking around it. So I'm going to do a quiet recall here. As you can see, our reputation is 21.4. So if we were to lose 28 from doing nothing, that would put us straight into the negatives. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and design an upgrade to the portcullis just yet. Just going to let the money roll in. Currently posting gains of about 12 million per month. Oh, and the tower is finally ceasing to sell. If you recall, a while back, I put a 112% margin on the tower because I just wanted pre-orders to stop coming in. And we're finally starting to build up stock of these cars because they're not selling as much anymore, now that they are fully 10 years old and horribly overpriced. So I'm going to actually go ahead and give a little discount. Bring that to 70% margins. So we're selling them dealerships for $18,000 for the truck and $19,000 for the van. That way they'll kind of continue to bring in a little money for us. And we're seeing profits monthly now of 16, 13 million. Doing quite nice. So before we get to the point where the throne comes out, go ahead and spend some more money. Let's see, we get access to Ferunia in just a few years. But we're currently spending about 2 million on marketing in Gasmia, our country that's similar to the United States. We can go ahead and increase our perceived company prestige, this top right here. That's, we should talk about these stats a little bit in a minute. And drivability, go ahead and mark it a little based on comfort, prestige, safety. It doesn't cost as much to add small amounts into new areas. Utility, off-road, fuel, reliability. Cool, spending some cash. And I'm not going to increase our marketing hit Vasia because we just don't sell those there. Now, the markets here. So the company reputation is a factor that affects our dealerships and other things in certain categories, and different markets care more about these two stats, reputation and prestige. So prestige is from cars that are fast, high-tech, have cool features, they're luxurious, and reputation is based on reliability. So, if our cars are more reliable than the average cars being sold in the country we're in, our reputation in that country goes up. And we want that, and that will benefit our perceived quality of our cars in markets like the budget markets in off-road utility, family utility, delivery definitely. So for our company that focuses on big off-road vehicles, reputation is a stat we care about. Prestige, not as much. Although selling some luxurious vehicles will help us. So the average market reliability is 52.9. We can see, say, the Portcullis. It has a reliability score of 64.9. So every Portcullis we sell increases the reputation of our company because we are selling cars that are more reliable than the average car a buyer could get. Now also, kind of just dump some money into R&D. Nothing crazy happening here. But this means we unlock stuff earlier, and our components are better quality. I'm going to go ahead and leave the Portcullis to sell as it is, because it's raking in the cash for us. You can see our monthly profits has gone down by a few million, because I'm now spending that on marketing and other things. As time passes, our market awareness grows. We're now getting to the point where our biggest markets, utility, off-road, 30 to 40% of people are aware of us and will consider our brand when they're choosing a car to buy in this category. And that, of course, just affects our demographic sizes. We can see if I don't limit it to our awareness, there's 5,000 off-road buyers. We're going to tick this box and see that 1,878 are aware of us. And then our monthly sales, about 10% of the people who are aware of us in off-road, in this case 148, are choosing to buy our cars instead of competitors. And that's also affected by dealerships, which have a number that I don't understand super well. Time's still passing even when I have that market screen open. And the Portcullis is still just selling so fast, the factory's going crazy. Tower's selling okay, although it's going to be replaced by the Throne, which just pre-orders of that are making a big difference. Oh, the moment that we are no longer manufacturing towers, you can see our profit goes enormous. That's because we're selling the cars that we have sitting in dealership lots, so we're not spending money on making any. So all those built-up cars are cashing in at once. And pre-orders of the new Throne are making us some money too. Just a couple months. And there it is. Wow, for having a small factory, our new model is making us almost as much money as our existing model. Only it's doing that with 3,000 versus 600. This Throne is very, very profitable for us. It's selling like hotcakes, even though it's at a large margin. So that's nice to see. It's like people will buy a brick with a premium interior. And just to close it out, we can see our general sales now. Looks like utility premium and family utility premium, the markets I intend to sell to with that new Throne, aren't buying very much of it. We're only seeing 20 sales to each. And I honestly can't tell where they're all going. Apparently Family Premium, Family Sport is buying some of our cars. But that doesn't account for all like 600 we're selling, so a lot of it's probably just going to regular utility or something. It's tough to tell because I can't filter this market sales screen by model. Pony. Cheap muscle cars, 108 sales. It says that's more Portcullis than Throne. So, yep, I don't know where they're going, but we're selling 600 cars. As long as the money's coming in, I guess.